Hey again! And today we're doing something as warm and comforting as a mother's love because it's Mother's Day. And we're doing my mum's. This is one of my mum's go-tos, Tong Dahn, which is literally translated as salty soup eggs. So, what is salty soup? Salty soup is actually yu lo, or fish sauce, as we all know it. Fish sauce actually, in European terms, dates back to ancient Rome with the discovery of garum, not to be confused with the Malay word for salt, which is garam. So I did a little Google for all of you, and it turns out that garam and garum, although sounding very alike, are actually not related. A happy coincidence. Ancient Rome and the Malaysian civilization tied in cultural foodie terms. How joyful is that? So anyway, we're doing Tong Dahn today, and it is literally one of the most comforting foods that I ever eat. And if ever I want to have something quick, easy, and also to thank Mum for and to be grateful for her being in my life and being my mum, this is for all mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day with Tong Dahn and Nigel's Joys. Hi, and welcome to my Mother's Day episode, Time for Joy. Well, I'm sitting here in this kitchen, which was my mum's really, and she created it. Even that red and white color that you see behind me for the doors was her creation. And I'm sitting here with her mixer, which is probably as old as I am, all the books that she collected. Well, this isn't it, obviously. There are hundreds upstairs. And her files, which she loved to do, and these cake tins, which she used to make like gorgeous cakes. I guess everything comes round full circle. Gorgeous cakes for me, and this tofu fa scoop. She was very proud of this, and she made her tofu fa from scratch, where she actually soaked her beans and she blended it and squeezed it out by hand. I just buy the soy milk and boil it up and coagulate it with GDL. So have a look at that recipe. It's up here in another video. But Tong Dahn, those three Chinese words pretty much bring back every memory of Mum. It might be a basic AF recipe, and it's only got 4 ingredients. But it's been almost 15 years since she passed away, and I'm still awed, inspired, and melancholy about her not being around. But in many ways, she still is. I was, in many ways, her hopes and dreams. And when she found out I was gay, it was for her the deepest cut, the hardest blow. Her first words to me on learning that, between sobs, was, "I've sacrificed everything for nothing. I don't know you anymore." Funnily enough, I don't, and I didn't feel bad or hurt or angry about it. I had already come to a point where I knew that I had my own journey of acceptance, and she would go through hers, because she loved me enough. And boy, did she. She adored my former partner. She loved me fiercely and was happiest when we hung out, cooking and doing stuff together. She actually wasn't homophobic in the modern day sense of the word, and welcomed everyone into her home, including all my fabulous friends, even before I came out to her, although she did suspect. Well, birds of a feather, right? So she was just of a generation who believed that it was okay to have one standard for friends and one for your own children. And back in the day, it was hard to be gay. It's much easier now, But back then, there were kids who were actually literally kicked out of their own homes and disowned, and perhaps even beaten to within an inch of their life. Her understanding of happiness was study hard, get a degree, get married, have kids, and live happily ever after. Her disappointment stemmed from her expectations and hopes being dashed. Not that I was gay as such, although that had a part to play in it, and she grew to understand exactly what I said about the fact that I was the same person. But now, Mum, you just knew a little bit more about me. So what's the joy in all of this? What lesson did I take away? There are so many in there, but I think the one thing I take out of all this is that joy is found even in the hardest revelations. Having an authentic inside self and the face you present to the public. Now, if both of those actually come together and meet in focus, you will find joy, peace, and contentment. Maybe not now, but in time. So, stay healthy, be patient, and keep traveling that road with the ones you love. It wasn't easy for a while, but Mum and I did, and it paid off in spades. So, today, we celebrate Mother's Day with her basic AF dish, but definitely not basic in memories and experiences. Tong Dahn, or her mincemeat omelette. I love you, Mum, and I'm so grateful for all the things you were to me. Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Sizzle, sizzle, salty soup omelette with garlic, mincemeat, fish sauce, and eggs. So, I decided to try a new way I saw on social media to peel garlic cloves. Actually, I think it's been around a while already. But the conclusion, it's easier to do it the old-fashioned way, unless you want to kill two birds with one stone and do a Zumba class at the same time. So, dice fine like I'm doing now. Don't mince. It's important that you don't mince. You don't want it too fine and mushed together, because when you fry this, eventually you want a little bit of texture. Crack a few eggs to make this omelette, because as they say, you can't make an omelette without cracking a few. 6 or 7 to be exact. Whisk them up with a fork until it's kind of homogeneous. And if you note, I actually lift the fork up and down just to have a look and see if it's broken up the strands of egg. Anyway, grind in a lot of pepper into your minced meat. Like a lot, like a tablespoon, even if it's finely ground. And put in about ½ a tablespoon of fish sauce into your mincemeat to flavor it, and ½ a tablespoon into your eggs. You'll see that in a second. That's just to make sure everything is seasoned nicely. So I started out mixing the meat with a spoon, but the old trusty hands still work best. After this, give the eggs a bit of a stir to make sure that the fish sauce is there, and a bit of a boogie woogie, because, you know, what's life without a bit of a boogie woogie? Heat your wok, drizzle in a generous amount of vegetable oil. Use a good quality one. I wouldn't use extra virgin olive oil because that's a bit too flavorful. Coconut if you must. Turn in your mincemeat when it's hot, and make sure your carbon steel wok is screaming hot. I think that's a Jamieism. Screaming seems to me to be a bit of a sexual innuendo, but hey, Jamie, tell me if that's true. So spread out the mincemeat. Now you can use chicken or pork, up to you. And wait a while before you turn it over. There's a bit of color now. That's exactly what we want. Press it until all the meat is cooked through. Then add in the minced garlic. It's important to do this particular recipe in this order because you don't want to burn the garlic. Because the wok is screaming hot. So listen for that sizzle. That tells you that the wok is at about the right temperature. Now, what you want to do is push the meat to the sides and make a bit of a well, and then pour the eggs in the center. I should have added a little bit more oil here because carbon steel wok, so it stuck a little bit. Let the eggs set just that little bit before you start pushing things to the side. Don't stir it, just push gently to spread it out and cook those eggs. Once it's set a bit, start turning the whole thing. Don't worry if you have a carbon steel wok and this happens. Do it in a non-stick wok, that's fine too. But honestly, these brown bits are the best thing. So don't worry about that either. This is not a French omelette, folks. So fry it until it's firm and bouncy, because that's how it's meant to be. Dish it up into a bowl, and once that's done, don't forget to scrape up the brown bits if there are any at the bottom. Garnish with spring onions and serve with sambal. Here we have pickles Nyonya sambal. So Mom used to make this Tong Dahn, literally translated salty soup. Yeah, salty soup eggs. Basically, it was my go-to comfort food, and it's eaten with some sambal, in this case pickles Nyonya sambal, and hot rice. And this is pickle. Gorgeous artisanal pickles from them. Okay, let's dig in. Let's eat. I like to mix it all in. Only stop when the spirits of your ancestors tell you to stop. Now, here's to you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.